Hey there. How are you? Welcome to the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast. That's right. The Tip In is back. What's this, episode 161 of the Tip In? We're going back to August of 2022. Is it 161, Dale?
161, brother.
161. And coming up tonight on the Tip In, we're going to look at Babcock. The cock is out for the Columbus Blue Jackets, Leafs prospect tournament. And can Matthew Knies win the Calder? Who should be the Leafs' next captain after John Tavares? We're going to take a look at a bunch of other stuff, too, and we got a little story for you on what happened between Chad Dale and the sick media company. That's all coming up on episode 161 of the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast.
Didn't even coach a game. Didn't even get to game one. Didn't even get to training camp. Mike Babcock up to his old tricks. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. Maybe Columbus, don't hire a fucking dinosaur in the first place. Here we go. 161 with the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast. Let's hit that intro.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast. I'm Chad.
I'm Dale. How we doing?
A lot of you are probably wondering, being like, why all of a sudden is the Tip In back? Do you want to get into it, Dale, or save it for later, or what do you want? Because there's probably burning questions on why we're doing the Tip In again.
Might as well
why we brought it back to life like the Undertaker.
Might as well fire it right up here, guys.
Well,
go for it. You can share as much or as little as you would like.
I'll do the Cole's Notes version of what happened. So basically, there was a little tension going on.
Our former home, right here.
Our former home. There was
we're gonna get to that in a second.
A little tension that happened at the end of last season, pretty much just between Dale and one guy over there. A little bit of tension, and then they tried to work around it, see if they could get me to do the show on my own. Things went down this road, and then we didn't hear from them, and we started doing a couple episodes in September, and then all of a sudden,
do you want to share what the nonsense tension was about, though? Because to me, it was so small of a thing.
Well, yeah, if you want,
yeah, go ahead.
So basically what happened was we would record the episodes and then we would send them over to them and they would post them, and we sent one, and this was like during the playoffs, I believe. And
no, it was free agency.
Oh, it was free agency. Okay, right. Yeah, it was at the beginning of the summer. So we sent it to them and they didn't post it for a day, 2 days, something. So Dale just sent them a text and said, "What's going on? Like, free agency's been over for a day and a half here and you haven't posted it." And then harsher words were used than that, but it escalated from there. And basically from that point on, it was just kind of downhill. And then we just get a nice text message being like, "Hey boys, don't need you anymore. We're not, we're done." All right. They gave us the tip. Just the tip.
Yeah. And you're leaving a few deets out there.
Well, I don't want to get too into it, but that's basically the Cole's Note version of what happened. There was some tension. It never really found itself. I knew when we didn't hear anything for 2 months, I was like, yeah, things can't be good. Nobody's keeping us in the loop here.
Look, I wasn't super pleased that they were taking their sweet ass time with uploading what we thought was an important episode. They had just signed Bertuzzi. They had just signed Domi. Let's go. Turns out they were on vacation or something. They couldn't get it going or whatever. Meanwhile, some of the other shows they were doing, they had no problem popping those out every single night. But anyway, vacation or no vacation, but whatever the case may be, I was frustrated. I'm like, what's going on? However, too much time before uploading the specific episode. And
well, I think the bottom line is what frustrated you and what frustrated me too was how far down the list we were in priority.
Oh, far
down.
It
didn't matter. They didn't care about the show. They had top priorities that they were looking after over there. when we voiced our concerns, it just, they didn't like that and it went downhill. So you will no longer, well, there's still going to be a Sick Podcast Leafs show, but it
Well, we
won't
don't
be
know.
with,
We don't.
well,
Yeah.
maybe
Well,
not, but it won't be with us.
so we're hoping that our new audience that found us last season on the Sick Podcast Leafs Talk, we will no longer be on that YouTube channel. Our old channel is going to be reactivated and we will be found on YouTube at the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast. So we're very much we asked them, maybe we could, give a little shout out, tell people like, that we're leaving or whatever the case may be. No, they're not interested in that. It's
well, I didn't think that was going to happen.
No, but it would have been nice to let people know like that abruptly, like we didn't quit and whatever. Sure. They asked us they didn't want us to do it anymore under their name. So, whatever, man, that's all good. And
it happens.
Moving on. It happens. But
and if you're looking at
don't leave us high and dry though. Like we just started firing up September 1st, new episodes of the Sick Podcast.
Well,
meanwhile,
that was
crickets in Sick podcast land.
That was the crazy thing is we were doing podcasts and sending it to them and they were posting them.
Right. So
and then they were like, sorry, we don't need you. Like, well, thanks a pant load, Chet. Could have helped out a couple weeks ago. Like, could have told us, we could have been rebranding in the summer and getting things ready.
Exactly. For if you didn't want us back, guys, like why'd you prolong it this long? Like, training camp opens this week. Like you could have done it, whatever. Anything else on the Sick Podcast, or am I going to do what I'm going to do here? And
you got something to do?
Yeah, it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth, Chad. I don't love how it all went down. I think it could have been reconciled. There was nothing there that couldn't have been reconciled.
No, it was just honestly, like people might think listening to this that it got really heated or whatever. It was honestly just like any disagreement that you've had with people that you're doing business with. That's all it was. We just had some concerns with how the show was being run, and rightfully so. It's our show, and we want it to go a certain way. And it just didn't work out over there.
Nope. So we are done.
Dale's got something for you.
And just leave it at this. Last word I'll say on it is I think they're making a terrible decision, but that's going whatever. If we're done with that, we're moving on to bigger and better things.
And now our swearing restriction is off. So cock,
dude, we're back,
balls,
buddy.
tit, fuck, shit. Bitch.
Sick podcast. Nice while it lasted. I will never, ever wear this again. Just leaves an absolute bad taste in my mouth. And here's what I think of the Sick podcast right here, folks. Sorry, guys.
Are you sure those scissors are strong enough? If for those listening on the podcast, he's cutting his t-shirt.
The Sick podcast, dead to me. Good night. Let's move on.
All right. And you know what else is dead? Mike Babcock's coaching career with the Columbus Blue Jackets. You know how that lasted? He checked in for work last week, and 10 days later, Mike Babcock resigned. I think that's got to be a record. That has to be a record. Because, I mean, I know he was hired before, but he didn't actually start work until like after the September long weekend. It's now the 17th of September, and he resigned. It's got to be a motherfucking record.
Hey, Chad, just would like to get to know you. Okay, I know I'm new coach in town.
Can I see your dick pics, please?
Season hasn't started yet, Chad, but I wouldn't mind seeing a few dick pics. Okay,
yeah, you're just showing me the dick pics.
Chad, you want to just come in? Would you mind?
And of course, like of course, if you're gonna look at dick pics, who do you go to? Go to a guy named Boone.
Boone.
Hey, Boone.
Yeah,
Boone, you want to have a seat in here? And
he didn't go to little
dick pics.
He didn't go to little Johnny Goudreau. He went to big old Boone.
I mean,
Boone.
I don't know this for a fact, but there has to be now, with the way everyone has a phone in their pocket, there has to be new laws that you cannot look through someone's phone.
It's so
like
crazy.
An employer cannot walk up to an employee and be like,
man.
"Hey, you mind showing me the videos and pictures on your phone?"
Asking for it is the crazy thing in the first place. Like if you're out at a social setting and you're like showing your phone, like you just got married or engaged, or like you're volunteering it.
Exactly. If you walk up and you're like, "Hey, I want to show you a picture of or a video of something."
Right. But come on into the office. I just want to see the pics on your phone from the summer. Maybe we'll throw it up on Apple AirPlay here and just have everyone around the office take a look.
That's what he was doing. He was throwing
it
up on the TV. Like, it's not embarrassing enough, but then you have to look at it with him.
He never even held a practice. He never
stepped on the ice.
No, he never stepped on the ice. But like the writing was all over this. Everybody knows, especially this guy. He cannot and will not change. There's no way. You're getting the old school dinosaur that you know, the things he's done with all kinds of people, Spezza, Commodore, Marner, the list goes on and on. Modano, like it's all over the place. Like just all nothing but bullshit with this guy. I would literally rather Tortorella, if I had a choice between Tortorella or Babcock, I would choose Tortorella every day because at least Tortorella gives it to you straight. All Babcock does
and
is
a lot of players like
all Babcock does is play fucking games.
Yeah.
Give me some information now that I can use against you later. Like,
yeah.
He's such a fucking
and
piece
he
of
did
shit.
that whole press conference when he was hired about how he learned so much from all the saga in Toronto, and you know, I've changed my ways. I'm not a dick pic guy anymore. First thing he fucking does, dick pic.
He'll always be a dick pic guy. Always has been, always will be. I got to say this about. I don't want to spend a ton.
Shout out to Spit and Chicklets podcast for basically just blowing this wide open. Like good
wide
on
open.
them.
They basically got him. They got him fired. Like,
they basically got him fired. Good job.
They hate him, so I love it. But like I don't mind this at all. The best thing about this is that he's done. He is his goose.
There's no way.
Oh no, his goose is cooked. He thought he was waiting out that Leafs contract and he was going to get right back in and it was just going to be no problem.
Did. Like everything was working to Bab's plan. I'll say I'm sorry. I'll do my song and dance, and then I'm going to get back in that dressing room and show them that my way works.
Exactly.
And he got back in that dressing room and he was fired in 10 days.
Isn't that crazy? And speaking of that, I know the thing came down today saying he resigned.
Sorry, he resigned, yes.
But hang on. Tell me if you agree with me on this. That resignation is the Columbus Blue Jackets letting him save face by walking away. Because
100%.
He was getting fired. They went to him and he was getting fired. And whoever hired him or whatever said to him, you can resign and we'll print it that way or else you're getting fired. Do you not think?
Oh, yeah. Do you think Mike Babcock believes he's wrong?
Not a fucking chance.
Do you think he woke up and was like, geez, I did it again. I better resign. It's the best thing for the organization.
As soon as I heard resigned, I'm like, what? This guy doesn't fucking resign. He would never fucking resign. He would never admit a mistake. He would never. No, this guy was getting his ass fucking fired and they were nice enough to let him resign.
This is his that way. Exactly. This is what they released. Mike Babcock released this. You tell me if this sounds anything like Mike Babcock. I'll even read it in Mike Babcock's voice to see if you could ever imagine him saying this. Upon reflection, it's become clear that continuing as head coach of the Columbus Blue Jackets was going to be too much of a distraction. While I'm disappointed to not have had the opportunity to continue the work we've begun, I know it's in the best interest of the organization for me to step away at this time. I wish everyone in the organization well in the upcoming season.
Oh man,
he didn't write that. He didn't say that.
No way. That is something though, isn't it? Like, isn't that something? Anyway,
it's insane.
Just wild. Look, guys, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like the YouTube channel, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast. We will be bringing you the best Toronto Maple Leafs content all season long. Thumbing up the videos and subscribing to the channel will really help us out. Let us know in the comment section down below your thoughts on this whole Babcock drama. I mean, it's just the writing was on the wall. Everyone could have seen this coming. It was just a matter of, I can't believe whoever hired him should also be fired today too.
Well, the GM, it was the GM that did it.
He should be fired today too. Like it was just the dumbest, you know how many young.
It was like when the Leafs traded for Matt Murray. Everybody was like, there's no way this can work out. And what happened? It didn't work out. When Babcock got hired, every smart hockey person was like, this is a mistake. Like this guy, all the stories that came out after he left Toronto, like not just the Mitch Marner stories, going back to Detroit, Anaheim, all the players that came forward and like, yeah, this guy's a dick.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, oh, you know what? We're going to try it. We think he's changed. It's just a huge mistake.
No.
I just want to say quickly, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm renovating a space. So it kind of looks crappy behind me right now, but I'm just in the middle of renos.
No, it's all good, man. What's that saying about zebras? So they're saying about something about zebras and their stripes or something like that. You know what I'm talking?
You'd think it was a horse if the cock was bigger. Is that what it is?
If think so. Something about
something
zebra.
like that.
I don't know. I thought it fit with this Mike Babcock thing, but maybe I don't know. Whatever.
Or you mean
zebras.
about them being black and white?
Stripes? No stripes. Like
Stripes.
you can't change. I don't. Whatever.
You can't change a zebra. You can't make a zebra a horse.
You can't.
You
can lead
not big enough.
You can. That's I think it's something like that.
That's
like you can lead a horse to water, but
you can't touch his cock.
Right. Something like that. Something like that. Anyway, all right. Let's move. Mike Babcock. Fuck you. That's what I think. Good fucking riddance, man. Out of the league. And he's such a fucking lying piece of shit. He promotes mental health and he acts like he's all fucking active in the community and all this. The
Got to be a good person, family man, yada, yada, yada. Bullshit.
The worst. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a divorce in his near future. Would not be shocked, man. The kids stopped talking to him, the whole fucking deal for this guy. So anyway, he's done. Like, I mean, he's probably
100% he is done. There's no way he can coach another game in the NHL. I don't think he'll coach another game in any league.
Who would even touch this guy with a 10-foot pole? You'd have to be fucking crazy. The league wouldn't allow it now. There's no fucking way. Like if he really wanted, he's at about 10.
If he really wanted to coach, he might be able to go to like the Swiss League or KHL or something and find a place to coach. But I think he wants to be in North America.
Yeah, he's not interested in that. Not enough spotlight. No way. His ego is way too big for that fucking shit.
Maybe he got to Columbus and it just wasn't a big enough market for him. And he was like, you know what? I'm just going to fuck the shit up and get out of here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't believe there'll be teams lining up anytime soon or possibly ever again to sign the old Babcock. Good riddance, bud. We could do a full show on just our fucking hatred for Mike Babcock, but let's move on, Chad.
Yep, let's do it.
The Leafs prospect tournament in Traverse City, or how do you pronounce it? Is it Traverse or that's how you pronounce
perfect.
it?
Yeah, that's perfect. Good job.
Traverse City in northern Michigan, I believe. So they played the Blue Jackets and they lost the opening game. They played Dallas and they beat them in the second game. And then they played Detroit this afternoon and they beat them. I watched that game this afternoon. It was pretty good. I wanted to get a look at some of the prospects. Matthew Knies went to this tournament. I don't think he should have went to this tournament in the first place. Do you want to start there? What are your thoughts on sending Knies, their top prospect, to this tournament? Like, did he really need to be there? He didn't play this afternoon, by the way.
Yeah, I don't think he really needs to be there, but are you afraid of injury or what are you afraid of?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't know. He's got to play.
Yeah, but camp opens in 3 days.
I know, but I know he had that terrible injury in the playoffs.
Actually, did you hear that he came out and said that he was cleared to play?
Really?
In game, what did they lose that series? 4-1. That's what they lost, right? 4-1.
Yeah,
they lost in 5 games. He would have been cleared to play game 6. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
I
was going to say they would have played not him cleared to play. He was the best left winger in the playoffs.
He said he would have been cleared to play game 6. But anyway, regardless of that, so the standout for they win, they lost. Columbus beat them. Like I said, they beat Dallas. They beat Detroit this afternoon. Knies played the first 2 games. He didn't play today, but he looked good in the highlights did you see any of the highlights or did you catch any of it?
I saw I didn't watch it. I saw the highlights and yeah. So, I mean, it is what it is, right?
Well, I got 2 guys that stood out for me. I only watched the one full game.
You got to remember, they're playing against the other development camps.
For sure, but I mean, that's who you're playing against, right? Like, it's just
prospects
against prospects or rookies against rookies, but or whatever. But the standouts for me this afternoon were big time Fraser Minton and Easton Cowan. They both look incredible.
I was going to say Easton Cowan.
He looks great. He was driving the net. He scored a nice goal. Like, this guy looks like tree living new. You can just see the kid's got something. Like, he's got something.
Yeah, he plays a totally different style than kind of what they've been drafting.
Big time.
In the past few years.
He's not
he definitely stood out.
He's not like
big.
He's not big. He's not like in your face, like I'm going to kill you. But I mean, honestly, I think a comparable.
But he's not afraid.
He's not as aggressive as Tkachuk, but I really see him a lot. Like, he's not going to be Tkachuk, but if he's like 75% of Tkachuk, I'm talking about Matthew or even Brady. But fuck, I like Matthew better. But
yeah, I know what you're saying.
I mean, it looks like
that style of play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like him. I think he's going to be a good pick. Obviously, he's years away and whatever. And this Fraser Minton kid, like, playing down the middle of the ice, not afraid to be physical, and just looks like his hockey IQ, a Dubas pick here, but looks like his hockey IQ is like through the roof. I know they're playing against other prospects. I get it. But just from the samples, I haven't really watched these kids play, right? So my first look.
I had him down. I didn't think he didn't stand out as huge. Now, I didn't watch the full games. But yeah, then he did, like, I had him down as one of the people that stood out, but I didn't think he was like Easton Cowan, I thought really stood out.
Like, I was kind of looking at it being like, most of these guys will never get a sniff with the Leafs. I was kind of looking at it like, who are the best of which few of these guys actually might get a chance. And the two I named, minus Nyes, Cowan and Minton, I could see it. I could see it.
Yeah,
anyway,
that's good.
Not much else on that. So whatever, it was what it was. Yep. Camp opens for real. The Leafs have their golf tournament on Monday. I think they have their physicals on Tuesday. I think they're on the ice on Wednesday, or maybe it's the physicals on Wednesday and on the ice on Thursday. But anyway, it's like right around the corner now.
I know.
Preseason
Can't
right
wait.
around the corner.
Can't wait.
Can Matthew Nyes win the Calder this season, Chad?
Well, speaking of watching prospect games, did you see Bedard? Because no, Bedard looked fucking unreal.
Okay, so you think Nyes? Okay, but he's playing in prospect. He's not playing against NHL players.
Yeah. Oh, I totally agree. I'm not saying he's going to do what he did in the NHL, but when you're watching the game, there's standouts, and then there's people you're like, my God, he is head and shoulders better than anybody on the ice. Okay. That was Connor Bedard.
Yeah, no, I didn't see him, but
if he maybe in another year, I just have this feeling Connor Bedard's he's gonna be one of those guys like an Austin Matthews, comes into the NHL and just has an incredible first season. And while Matthew Nyes will probably have a great season, I just think it's going to be Connor Bedard at the end of the year.
Here's the problem I see with that is that the Chicago Blackhawks, shout out, are going to be a terrible hockey team. I think they might be slightly.
But he's going to play more.
He's going to, I know, top, but he's going to be playing on a bad team. So yes, that could potentially, like, we'll see. Like, I think, right now I would go with Bedard. Is Nyes going to be in the conversation? Well, I'll tell you what, if they don't play Bertuzzi or Domi on the top two lines, and there's wiggle room for Nyes to sneak up there, think of if Nyes ends up playing with Matthews and Marner, think of like the fucking points. Like Bunting got nominated for the Calder because he played with Austin Matthews for a fucking season.
Yeah.
So
I see
Matthew
what
Matthew Nyes is like way better fucking than Michael Bunting. It's not even going to be close how good Nyes is going to, or how much better Nyes is going to be than Bunting. So I guess my only thing there, Chad, if Nyes ends up playing up the lineup with his numbers are going to be fucking ridiculous, he might be in the conversation. I think he's got a shot.
Oh, for sure. He has a shot at being in the conversation, and anybody with a shot like at being nominated has a shot to win. I'm just saying, like, if I was a betting person, my money would be on Bedard.
Same here. I think you're right. We don't have to spend a ton of time on that. I just wanted to throw it out there because we're still, we got some things, not a ton of things to talk about.
We're waiting for hockey to start. Exactly. So we're just pulling shit out of our ass.
Well, wait until I float this next one out.
I mean, we started the show with Dale cutting a t-shirt, so we're really digging the bottom of the barrel here.
I don't even regret doing that either.
You don't regret it yet?
No, I don't. Why would I regret that? Never going to wear that shirt again. No, done.
Well, now it's on video and it'll be on YouTube forever.
Yeah, I'm not going to regret it, man. Okay. Like, we're doing this the night that we're doing this.
I didn't cut anything.
We're doing but I did ask you. I did tell you about it before doing it because I didn't want to surprise you on it and piss you off. But they we're doing this on a couple hours after we got a text message saying thanks, guys, but no thanks.
Oh, we were playing. We were going back and forth today on how we were going to do the episode for the Sick Podcast.
We were doing a pod. We planned on doing a podcast.
We had everything ready to go, and then they texted and they're like,
hold the shoot.
Thanks, boys. We don't need you, okay? We're going down to La Cage. I was like, okay. Head on down to La Cage, and I guess we won't see you there because we're not invited, never was, never will be.
No. The Tip in Maple Leafs podcast proudly brought to you by
La Cage. Have you been to La Cage lately? Get there. I don't even know what the fuck La Cage is. I have no idea.
Is
it a restaurant?
It's a restaurant. It's a
Okay.
restaurant.
If you don't know, the other sick podcast, the Montreal one, that's one of their big sponsors, and we always thought it was funny because we had no idea what La Cage was.
Moving on. Finding some interesting stuff to talk about here now. John Tavares. I'm just throwing this out there, but let me backtrack for a second. Who should or could be the Leafs' next captain after John Tavares? John Tavares is going into the second last year of his deal, just like Mitch Marner. So the cap's going up. Nylander needs a contract, obviously, before the start of next season. Not this coming season, but the following season. Marner will be able to extend next summer, and Tavares will be able to extend next summer. So I'm kind of throwing this out there, Chad, but really what I want to get into is like, it's hard for me to see Tavares not sticking around after these 2 years. Let's start there. Do you agree with that?
So you're saying like he won't go anywhere else?
It's hard for me to see him like, obviously there's a pay cut.
Yeah, like he would take a pay cut to stay in Toronto. I somebody would pay him.
Can you see him wearing any other jersey than a Leaf for the rest of his life? I can't see it.
I don't. If you make the decision to come here and like all the shit he went through, it'd be really weird to come here, win one playoff round if that's all they do, and then go home.
One thing you cannot knock about John Tavares is how much he loves the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think he is the right guy right now to be. I think they've made the right call with putting the C on him. I think he should be the captain of the team because anybody else on that team, he gives a shit about that franchise since he was fucking wearing pajamas in kindergarten. Okay.
Yeah.
This guy loves the Toronto Maple Leafs. So I think he's the right guy for the job right now. But in 2 years' time, I think he sticks around. We'll get in, like, I don't know what the number would be, but do you not think he sticks around at a lower amount?
I think JT would take a pay cut to stay in. I think he's the one guy on this team who probably it means a lot to him to retire a Maple Leaf. Like, I think in his mind, he's like, I want to finish my career here. I may leave millions of dollars on the table, but I want to retire Maple Leaf. He's one of those guys. He wants to see his number up in the rafters. He wants 100%. To be part of that. So yeah, I see him. But
will the
question
team,
you were asking was,
but hang on. Will the team want, like, will the team see that to the point where they'll be like, okay, John, we want you around
for the right dollar number? Yeah. I mean, he's still
like, he'll move down the lineup, or maybe he moves to the wing or whatever. But
if John Tavares was near the end of his career and let's say he's your third or fourth line center, he's probably one of the best third, fourth line centers in the league.
Or maybe you move him to the wing.
Or the wing, but as long as his contract reflects that, I have no problem with it. Right now, the reason he gets so much flack is because of the $11 million cap hit.
Of course.
But if that $11 million was just a few million, no one would give a shit.
So do you think he would drop? Like, that's quite, like, let's say he goes to...
Maybe not when this contract's up, but definitely when he's like older than that. And we don't know, like, if injuries or whatever, if he even has another contract after this one.
What did Ryan O'Reilly get? $4 million? Or what did O'Reilly get?
He got around 4.
Okay, so do you not think possibly you could see JT, like John Tavares, next contract somewhere like 4 would be, I think, a fair deal for him and a fair deal for the team.
Yeah.
So there's
$7 million less than he's getting now.
There you go, right?
If that was the case, and no one would have any problem. Not only would they have no problem being here, people would love him for coming back at such a low number.
And think what the possibilities that they could do with that $7 million.
Yeah.
But
and think of what the message it sends to the young guys that are going to be coming up on the team, right? Like, you have this guy in the dressing room, a number 1 overall pick, veteran guy, being like, I'm leaving money on the table because I want to be here. You need more of that.
I agree. Okay, so the question was, though, who should be, if not John Tavares? So if he sticks around, would you keep the C on him? You don't have to answer that. I'm just throwing that out there. Would you keep the C on him, or would you maybe move it to somebody else? But let's just say they do keep it on him, or let's say they don't.
For this conversation, let's say they pick a new captain.
Here's what I'm saying. If the C wasn't on him, who would you have it on?
I mean, top of my head, Morgan Riley.
Morgan Riley.
Yeah.
Do you see? A lot of people would go Mitch. A lot of people would go Austin. For me, it's Morgan Riley. No,
yeah, the way he played in the playoffs, the fact that
eight long-term commitment.
Yeah, he's locked up here for. Does his new contract kick in this year?
Yes.
So
he's going to be around for a long time here.
Yeah. He's like the only guy left on the team, if I remember correctly, who was around for those dark days.
Yep.
Right? Like he went through all that shit. He went through a rebuild.
He's still going through it.
And he's kind of still going through it, and he's still committed to
and
the
he's
team
still committed.
long-term.
Says a lot.
Yeah. And also, what a beast in the playoffs. Like, I don't care if you have an up and down regular season, but if you play like that in the playoffs, you can wear the C any day in my book. Not only that, but you become such a fan favorite. Toronto loves that fucking like lunchbox, bring your hard hat, giver really hard in the playoffs. They love that shit.
They did.
And he did. Yeah. So that would be me, Morgan Riley. But I know a lot of people would say Matthews.
Yep.
A lot of people would say Mitch.
Yep, for sure. I'm with you. For me, it would be 100%. If it wasn't Tavares, it would be Morgan Riley. Guys, let us know what you think. Leave us your thoughts. Leave us your comments down below. If someone was wearing the C other than John Tavares, who do you think it should be? Chad, I got one more thing, and then I'll send it to you to wrap it up. Our boy, Ilya Samsonov, he's going to be rocking a new goalie mask this year. The picture.
I knew you were going to bring this up.
I don't know if you saw it or not. But
I did.
Man,
yeah.
Oh, man, what an absolute legend move right here.
I love it.
Oh, my God.
It's so good.
Replicating Curtis Joseph's Cujo mask with the rabid dog. Oh, man.
But like a modernized version.
Yeah.
So it's like
even sharper
Yeah,
teeth.
If they remade the movie, like how it would just be better now. That's what they did. They took the mask and they just made it better. I haven't heard anything. Has Cujo said anything about it?
Oh, I haven't heard anything yet. But
I mean,
he would have to love it. He would have to love it.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's pretty awesome that he did that. Because
it's the best.
Most goalies are going to have their own thing, right?
Oh, sure.
Like the Eagle or
it's not identical, but it's close. It's close.
No, but it's definitely paying homage to
for
Cujo.
Sure, man.
I mean, it looks a lot like his mask from the 90s.
Like Cujo is my favorite goalie mask ever that any Leafs goalie's ever worn. Oh, it's the best mask. It's one of the best masks I've ever seen. Like it was just such a cool fucking like the open dog mouth, like the vicious dog. Such a cool fucking mask, man.
I always thought he loved Eddie Belfour's.
Eddie would be Eddie's just too simple. Like I do love Eddie's, but here's the best thing about this is that Joseph Woll has eagles on his mask, man.
Oh my God.
That's the thing. I haven't seen his updated one. Last season, he had the Belfour Eagles. So we're going to basically have Samsonov wearing a Cujo mask and Wall wearing an Eddie Belfour mask. It's like, here we go. My two favorite Leafs goalies of all time right there, those two. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there because I can't wait to see it in game action. Just seeing pictures on the internet, the mask looks absolutely fucking awesome. So just had to get that in there, Chatty, before we wrap it up. Are we going to bow tie this one or you got anything else or what?
No, I don't think I have anything else.
Were you trying to bring up pictures?
Yeah, I was going to bring up a picture of I was going to bring up I know now you can see my crappy background, but whatever. I'm going to just bring up the Samsonov mask.
Yeah, do it.
That's the mask right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's not a great photo of it.
No. There was better pictures on the Leafs Facebook page, I think, where they actually have the mask and you can like see it from different angles, but whatever. It's all good, man. It's all good.
Yeah, that's awesome. But anyway.
Hey, back at it. Wow. Back at it. It's been a long time.
The Tip In Maple Leafs podcast. If you are coming to the show and you had never listened before, but you found us on the Sick podcast, thanks for joining us. Hopefully you stay a while. Hit subscribe on all your podcast platforms because all the episodes are back up. We're back, baby. We're back. The Tip In Maple Leafs podcast. Don't forget, follow us on social media at the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. The Tip In Pod on Twitter. And if you haven't already, like I said, if you're listening to this from you found us on Sick Podcast, go to your podcast platform and subscribe to the show so that you automatically get the downloads and notifications when we post new episodes, because we have nothing to do with the Sick Podcast anymore.
That's right.
So you won't get those episodes anymore.
Nope.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add, Dale?
I don't think so, man. Like, I mean, just excited to be back doing the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast.
We have control again.
Yeah.
We might do some Saturday night live things like we did before.
100%.
After the game. We couldn't do that before because we didn't have control of it. We might do that again, and you guys can come in the chat. We can drink some beers and talk about what we just saw happen on the ice. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I will say this though. I guess that's it. The Leafs prospects, though, just one more thing on them. They did come hard this week, and that was good to see. And that's what she said too.
That is what she said. All right, everybody. Our first episode as the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast in over a year. We made it almost exactly 1 year before getting fired. Yeah. 1 year, baby.
What are you gonna do?
We're gold. We're gold. Anything else?
No, man. That's it. We'll be back. We'll be back like this week. Training camp opens. Easy now.
I did that on purpose.
Easy. No, we'll be back. Training camp opens this week. We'll be back. Couple podcasts this week for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, everybody. I'm Chad.
I'm Dale.
Thanks for listening to the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast, and we will.
Hey, guys. Babcock, good riddance, you motherfucking piece of shit. See you later, Babs. The hell out of here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, guys. The Tip In Maple Leafs podcast back and better than ever. Let's hit the outro, Chatty. We'll catch you later.